That's fine. This idea of generating ideas as a group and of being able to do that without hugely specialist knowledge, with just a thumbnail of movies. So we're just going to take taking it as the first two movies on the IMDb coming soon. All right. We are 6 weeks ago, and we're looking ahead to the August releases, and we need preview coverage of the Expendables 3. So what are our options? Just from, without knowing too much backstory on the Expendables, I want the obvious to the most left field, and I can see left field, I can see centre field here. What can we go with?
You got to reference the previous installments of the series.
How? What kind of editorial do you mention as a preview feature?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, come back, Kendrick.
Maybe this is a little not center field, I guess, but you could talk about the age of a lot of the actors. I mean, Stallone's been an action hero for how long now? I think maybe it was this class where we talked about his Rambo, and how he's kind of come along as an action hero, and Bruce Willis, and maybe talk about their careers as action stars.
Can you almost think of what's a headline? What's in a nutshell? How would you, if it's a genre feature, what's the genre feature with the release of this on Friday as the hook?
Going off of that, would you from Rambo to Expendable, do kind of a feature on...
Do a profile of Stallone?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, find, let's say in next year will be X years since Rocky, you do a profile of Stallone on with the angle on the age and how far he's come along. If you're going Kendrick's idea of the age, then you do the pose a question and then the feature answers it. How old is too old to be an action hero? And then you can riff around Stallone and Schwarzenegger and all of them. And that lends itself to a sidebar. What would the sidebar be for that feature? How do you illustrate that nicely with a sidebar?
You can do a graphic with each of the actors and say their age and maybe a couple of movies that they've been in.
Absolutely. You can have fun. Empire would go to town on that. They would probably do it. They would probably do it like the poster image. They do like the boxer's tale of the tape. They would do Stallone, 5 foot, whatever, age, number of movies, total box office gross, number of people he's killed on screen. You would, if it's Empire, you go down that route. You go down the irreverent. But I could absolutely, I haven't seen Empire's coverage of Expendables 3. Well, they did those character profiles, didn't they? The issue we looked at. But I could totally see, and in fact, that's what I would be commissioning. I would have commissioned somebody to do, very bad taste, but it's Empire. What's the combined body count in the movies of all of the stars of the Expendables? Because God help us, there is a website, I think, which tells you how many people these guys kill in different films, because somebody's counting. So I would play around with that. I would play around with who is the oldest action hero and statistics and numbers and absolutely. I think if you want a more serious analysis, then you would follow through on that, which is that when it's Stallone and Schwarzenegger on their own in the last few years, and Schwarzenegger's come back into movies, it's been a total bust. Any Schwarzenegger or Stallone movie where they're not surrounded by Jason Statham, principally, has been absolute death at the box office because nobody knows who they are, really. I mean, they know who they are, but they don't care. So the action movie audience in the US will not turn out to see Schwarzenegger or Stallone in a film on their own. Look at the figures for The Last Stand or Sabotage or Escape Plan. You know, they put Schwarzenegger and Stallone together in a prison breakout movie. Done. Absolutely tank. So that would be, you know, your goal is, if the movies are your beat, it's to have that kind of, I know what's going on because I follow the movies. And therefore, if you're following your beat very closely and you have a sharp memory, which you need to a certain extent, but the web will fill in the rest for you. If your instincts are good on, oh, hang on, wouldn't it be interesting to compare the box office for Schwarzenegger and Stallone in the 80s, 90s, 2000 and 2010s? Variety or Screen have probably already done that from the hard business point of view. It's no different from the motoring correspondent of the Wall Street Journal saying how many units have Chrysler's new models shifted in each decade. If you're a business industry, if you're an industry analyst for the movies, you analyze the box office. So that's a route, certainly. This is one where if I weren't so busy here, I would have written about this, which is that, PG-13, because I'm pretty sure in the UK, and if somebody wants to Google that for me now, I'd appreciate it. If you look for the BBFC, the British Board of Film Classification, look up the ratings, the classification and ratings for the 3 Expendables movies here, and I'm fairly certain that it's gone 18, 15, PG 12 or 12A, sorry, 12A. And if I'm right, that's what it's gone.
12.
Okay. What does that tell you about that franchise? So 18 being the stronger than R for the violence, 15 nobody under 15 admitted, and 12A parents can take a 12-year-old. What does that tell you about the franchise?
They're trying to kill the younger people.
And is that a good thing or is that a grotesque view of the violence of the franchise and how cynically exploitative that is of, you know what, it's become a hit. And really what that also tells you is kids are watching it on home video who couldn't get in to see the first one in the cinema. So somebody should be writing about it. Somebody should be writing about this. It's a very good motivation to you to come up, you know, to then follow through on that. I've sold a lot of features on that basis of thinking, why hasn't somebody noticed this? Why isn't somebody commenting on this? It's what a columnist does to a degree, is they would write about that. And again, if you can broaden it out from something very narrow, then I would do the same with the fact that the Die Hard franchise went the same way. I mean, the first Die Hard movie was extremely violent, was justifiably an 18. The second and third, I think, were 15s. And God knows what the most recent one, whether it came down to 12. And then there's another cynicism, which is with the Taken movies and the Die Hard movies, they then release a harder cut, a home video, with a higher certificate, because they know nobody's going to really take notice of that. So what we've come up with here is a factually based statistical analysis that actually would allow you to riff on movie violence and the permissive attitudes towards that, home video versus cinema. Now, this isn't 3,000 words, but it's more than possibly it's more than a shortcut in The Guardian. It's a column, really, or it's a blog post. It's a film. I should try and sell this as a film blog post to prove to you that this is how it works, and I might